So last time we started quadratic equation, right? And we mentioned that quadratic equations, we are finding the x-intercept of the quadratic function, right? Function means the graph, and equation is finding when y equal to 0, right? So we also call the answer, those are the zeros of the equation. So there are 5 different methods. So I hope to complete method 2, 3, 4 today, okay? And then started with the GCF methods, okay? So we use the GCF when there's GCF to take out, okay? So it's not just the variable, sometimes could be coefficients as well, right? Like question C, right? We can take out 5t, right? 5 is also GCF, common factor. So the idea behind this is once I factor it, right, you turn it into brackets. In order for them to equal to 0, you need to make each one of them become 0, right? Either one of the bracket equal to 0. So that's how you figure out the x, okay, or the roots. So before you begin any question, right, you have to make the right side, right? Doesn't have to be right side, just one side equal to 0, okay? You can write this down. One side equals 0, okay? So the question 1, right, it's already equal to 0. Every question has like that, right? But starting from question 2, right, you have something on the other side, right? So you have to move everything to the left, right? Or everything to the right, okay? It doesn't matter. But we are used to putting everything to the left. So first thing is to change to general form, okay? Change to general. So the general form is the same form that we learned in the last chapter, quadratic function general form, right? We have general form and standard form. So the general form for this will look like ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, okay? So that's your first job, right? So move everything to the left and make it equal to 0, okay? So I'll give you 5 seconds to do that. So Colin, what do you have on the left side?
I'm not done yet.
Let me know when you got the left side.
Two x squared minus 5x plus 2.
Yep, very good. Yep, equals to 0. So once you turn into here, then we can start to make them into brackets, right? So this process is called factoring. Before we use GCF, right? If there's common factor. But if you look at this question, 2, 5, and 2, there's no GCF, right? So we cannot do method 1. And then for the x, right? Not every term has the x. Only the first 2 term has x, right? So we cannot take x out. So this method is called cross factoring. Okay, I'm not sure which way you learned how to do the factoring, but I'll show you the way I do it, okay? All right, so first what you do is you can factor the way you used to do, or you can, if you forgot how to do the factoring, you can follow this way, okay? So there are 3 terms here. You split them into 3 parts, 3 columns like that, okay? And then you look at the first term. So think about which 2 terms multiply can give you 2x squared. Okay, what times what gives you 2x squared? So Nathan, can you tell us what option?
Like it like 2x and 1x.
Sure, yeah, that's a good choice. Okay, so I will put those choice down here. 2x times x will make 2x squared, okay? Now, after you figure out the first pair, we go to the last term, okay, the 2. So which two numbers multiply can give you 2? Okay, Eric?
2.5.
2.5 times,
Minus 2.
no, multiply. It has to multiply together to make 2. Two numbers multiply equal to 2. Integers, okay, give me 2 integers.
1 and 2.
1 times 2, right? Okay, so let's do that. So once you find the two pairs, right, 2x and x, 1 and 2, okay, now you want to check if those are the right pair to use, right? So you do cross, right? That's why it's called the cross factor. You cross multiply. So x times 1, we'll put that on the side, that's x. 2x times 2, that's 4x. And then you add them up. Okay, they have to add up to equal to the middle term. Okay, so for this one, it doesn't work, right? X plus 4x give you 5x. So it's not the middle one. Middle one is negative 5x. So how can we fix the pairs so it will work then? Anyone? What can we change in the green numbers so it will work? It will match the middle term. Aaron, what do you think? What can we do with the pairs?
Adding negatives.
To which ones? Adding negative to where?
I guess it would be the 1 and 2.
Yeah, okay, so let's try that. If I put negative, right, to the 1, negative to 2, you have to make sure it's still multiply into 2, right? So negative 1 times negative 2 still give you the third term, the 2, okay? So that's okay, right? You have to keep that. And then now if we do cross multiply, okay, so let's try one more time. X times negative 1, that will give you negative x. 2x times negative 2 will give you negative 4x. So if you add them up, it will become negative 5x. So that's the correct pair, okay? It has to match all the three things, right? So I repeat one more time. You start with the 2x squared. Find the pairs that makes 2x squared. And then you go to the third term, okay? Find the pairs that makes the 2, all right? And then cross multiply to match the middle, okay? Cross multiply to match the middle. Once you've done that, when we write the answer, you need to go horizontally, okay? Let me erase this arrow, okay? So the first pair in the brackets will be 2x minus 1. Okay, we use cross multiply to check, but the answer has to be horizontal. So second pair will be x minus 2. Okay, you can double check if this works if you expand everything, okay, multiply everything out to the FOIL, okay, then you should go back to the before factoring, okay. Anyone has question about how to do this? Can you raise your hand if you understand? Okay, Colin, Eric, Nathan, do you have questions? How this factoring works? Okay, or if you probably learned a different way, okay, then I think, what was it called? The chance method, or there are other names, okay? But this is just one of the way I usually do. So up to you, as long as you can factor it correctly 100% of the time, okay? Because after this, right, then we use the idea we had before. We make each one of the bracket equal to 0, right? Then that will make the whole thing multiply equal to 0. Okay, so let's go back to here. Right, once you factored it, okay, so step 2, right? Step 1 is change to general form. Step 2 is factor. Right, so you factor that. Step 3, then you solve. Okay, you solve each one. So 2x minus 1 equal to 0. You solve for x, so move the minus 1 over. X will equal to half, right? So that's one of them. And then you go to the other side. X minus 2 equal to 0, right? The second bracket. So this one is easier. X equal to 2. So we have an answer of x equals half or 2. Okay, so these are called the roots, the zeros, or x-intercept. Okay, just different names. Okay, we mentioned this last time. Okay, I'll give you some time to write these down. Okay, when you are ready to move on to next one, okay, raise your hand. So please raise your hand if you finished writing these down. Okay, so for every question, okay, that when you see the equation, right, quadratic equation, because you don't know which method to use, you always start with the GCF because that's the easiest one. Okay, if there's none, then you go to here. Okay, so you will use the cross factor when there are 3 terms. Okay, after you turn it into general form and it's factorable. Okay, so you always turn into general form first before you check. Okay, so general form will have 3 terms all the time. Okay, if it's GCF, right, it could be 2 terms, could be 3 terms. Okay, and there's no fixed number of terms. Okay, all right, so let's look at an example now. Question B. Question B, it doesn't look like general form, right? So our first job is try to do that, turning to general form. So how do we do this then? How are we going to turn it into general? Any suggestion? It looks very different. Anyone wants to try? Tell us what to do. Yosher, what do you think? How can we make this one become a general form?
I'm not sure.
Okay. How about you tell us, how is this one different from general form? Which part is different?
It contains fractions with a variable on the bottom.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yep. Okay, as you can see on the left side, right, the general form, it doesn't have a fraction, right, in the denominator, variable not in the denominator. So if you look at this, right, then that will be the first thing you want to make it go away, right? You don't want to have variable in the bottom. So to do that, okay, we are going to multiply everything by common denominator. You can write it on the side here, okay? Multiply by common denominator. Okay, in this case, our common denominator is, you have the x plus 1, that's a denominator, x minus 1, that's another denominator, right? So the common denominator will be those two. So the whole thing, left side and the right side, they both multiply by x plus 1, x minus 1. Okay, I put it over 1, meaning it's in the numerator, okay? So let me erase this thing, okay? Right, so that's our first thing to do, right? Try to change it into general form. So let me write it down slowly, right? So on the left side, I have x plus 1, x minus 1, multiplied by the left side, right? That's the left side. And then the right side is negative 6 multiplied by x plus 1, x minus 1. Okay? So you see the yellow highlighted is the common denominator. The blue one, right? The one that's not highlighted was the original question. Okay? So both sides multiplied by common denominator. Anyone has questions so far? Okay, right side is pretty straightforward. Later we are going to expand everything. Okay, now for the left side, the point of multiply common denominator is it's going to get rid of the denominator. Okay, because when we multiply the left side, it will distribute, right? Multiply into each of the fractions. So let's focus on one of them first. Okay, so let's say I pretend I don't see here. If I just multiply with the first fraction, then x plus 1 will cancel out with the x plus 1, right? So that will give us only the x minus 1 left, okay? So let me erase that first, okay? So when we multiply the first one, you'll have 2 times x minus 1. Okay, can you raise your hand if you understand what's happening so far? Okay, I want to make sure everybody is on the right track, okay? So now the second part, okay? Then I will take the same common denominator, but then this time I multiply by the second fraction, okay? So can you write down on your own paper, right, in your book, what's left, okay? When you got it, please raise your hand. Multiply the common denominator with the second fraction. So after simplifying, what's left? So you can raise your hand once you got it down, okay, in your book. Okay, Colin, Eric, do you have any trouble?
I'm sort of confused.
Okay, do you understand how we get the first part, the 2 times x minus 1?
You like expand it?
We didn't expand anything. We just canceled out the numerator, like reducing fractions. Okay, let me ask you this one. Let's say if I have 5 times 3 over 5. How do you do this question?
You just multiply it over, like 5 times 3 and then 1 times 5.
Yeah, that's one way, right? Or you could do reducing first. Which ones can you reduce? 5, you can write it as 5/1, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you multiply fraction, you could try to simplify before you multiply. Do you remember that?
Sorta.
Okay, so which ones can simplify?
The 5.
Okay, so the 5, both 5, they can divide by 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that will give you 1 and 1, like that. Okay?
Oh yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, okay. And then once you get the numbers down, then you can do the multiplying 1 times 3, 1 times 1. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are using the same idea over here. So when you look at the first fraction, right, the x plus 1 is like the 5 that we had there. So x plus 1 can cancel with the x plus 1 on the outside. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you're left with 2 times x minus 1. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so my question right now is, can you tell me what happened when you do the same thing to the second brackets?
So you get,
Say second fraction, I mean. Yeah.
so you do like 5 and then x minus 1.
Let me cross out the first one, right? So first one is gone, right? When you multiply the outside with the second fraction, what will cancel out?
The x minus 1,
Yes. So what's left then?
5.
5 times who?
X minus, or yeah, or
Times what?
just
Which
just
part?
5 and 1.
Okay, what's in the denominator for the second fraction?
1.
X minus 1,
Oh, okay.
right? So x minus 1 will cancel out which one on the outside?
X minus 1.
Yes. So what's left?
5.
5 times who?
X plus 1.
Yeah. Okay, understand now?
Mhm.
Okay, so the common denominator, when you multiply in, it canceled out each of the denominator. But of course, you will be left with different parts, okay? And don't forget in the middle, right? Because the question has a plus, you need to have a plus, okay? It's not everything multiplying together. Okay, so let me erase this again. Okay, now for the right side, there's no fraction. Okay, so that's pretty easy. We just try to expand everything. Let's leave it for now. Okay, just copy the same thing down first. Okay, let me erase this. Okay, I don't want to run out of space. Okay, and I'm gonna pull this out. Okay, now after this, we will expand everything. Okay, left side and right side. And then make one side equal to 0. Okay, so there's a few steps for you to do. After you expand everything, move everything to the left. Okay, so it becomes general form. Okay, so I'll leave that to you. This part you should be able to do it correctly. So be careful on when you are doing the right side. You can multiply 2 brackets first, and then a -6 goes in later, okay? Or you can do the first 2, okay? And then multiply with x minus 1, okay? Do 2 things at a time, okay? Because there are 3 things multiplying here, right? So once you get to general form, you can raise your hand. We'll check at that point, okay? So expand everything and then move to the left side. Is there anyone having trouble expanding or want to ask any questions? Please raise your hand when you finish getting general form. Okay, it doesn't matter right or wrong, okay? Just write down what you think it should be. And then we'll talk about, we'll compare answers. If it's wrong, we'll find out which step, okay? We'll go over these steps. So right now we are still in step 1, right? Change to general form. So if it's something like question A, it's pretty easy, right? Just move over. If you get a question with a fraction, it takes a few more steps to get to general. Okay, so everyone got the answer down. Let's check, okay? Brendan, what do you have for your general? Okay.
I have 6x squared plus 7x minus 3 equals 0.
6x squared plus 7x, and then?
Minus 3 equals 0.
Minus 3 equals 0. Okay, thank you. Colin, how about you?
I got the same thing.
Same thing. Aaron?
I think I got the same thing.
Okay. And Sarah, how about you?
Same thing.
Same thing. Okay. Okay. Anyone got different ones? Okay, let me just quickly expand this. Okay, so first one, you get 2x minus 2, 5x plus 5. And then over here, I'm going to expand this part first, okay? Because this one is a special product, okay? A plus B times A minus B. So that will give you A squared minus B squared. 1 squared is 1, right? So that makes things easier. And then expand the right side, negative 6x squared plus 6. Here we can combine like terms. 7x plus 3. Move things over to the left. Okay, plus 7x minus 3. Yep, okay, you guys are doing pretty well. Very good. So after general form, okay, what is our next step now? Yoshir?
You do the cross factor.
Yep, very good. Okay, so everyone please try it. Okay, you can try with the cross factor way or any way you like. Okay, as long as at the end, please get the 2 brackets. Okay, and make it equal to 0. Step 2, factoring. So once you got the 2 factors, you can raise your hand. Okay, I would like to see like the ways that you guys are doing. If you are using the cross multiply method, can you raise your hand? Okay, oh, almost everybody. Eric, which method are you using?
The same one.
The same one, okay. Right, so probably did you guys also learn the same way at school? Okay, once you got the 2 factors, you can raise your hand. And also, right, sometimes once you get to the general form, you might see GCF. Okay, in this case, there's no GCF, 6, 7, and 3, no common factor, then you don't need to do that. But if you do see a GCF, you have to take it out first. Okay, so it's a mixed of method 1 and method 2, okay? It's not always just one method, okay? Because they both belong to factoring, right? So if you want to factor, you think about, is there GCF or not? If not, you do cross factoring, okay? Please raise your hand if you found the two brackets, the two pairs. All right, so Aaron, can you tell us your first pair? What multiply equal to 6x squared?
3x subtract 1.
Oh, you mean in the first bracket?
Yeah.
Okay, 3x subtract 1, and the second one?
2x plus 3.
2x plus 3, okay? So let's check if it works, okay? So 3x subtract 1, and then 2x plus 3. Okay, so they multiply makes 6x squared. Multiply equal -3. Cross multiply, that's -2x. This way is 9x. Add together is 7x. Yep, very good. Okay, and then finally, what's the last step now, Nathan?
You gotta solve it.
Yeah, solve each one. Okay, so that one I'll leave it to everyone to do it. So once you got the two answers, you can raise your hand again. Okay, Brendan, Eric, Sarah, have you found the answer yet? This shouldn't take too long. Okay, so Yoshi, what are the two answers?
X equals 1/3 and -3/2.
Yep, very good. Okay, this part is just isolating the x, right? Okay, so let's do another one, okay? And then we'll take a look at what kind of question will be in the homework, right? And then we can maybe pick one or two questions to try the beginning part, because I think the difficult part is to turn it into general, right? Once you get to general, right, everything is very straightforward, just factoring, okay? So let's do one more, okay? This question also has fraction, right? Whenever you get question that has fraction, you will multiply by common denominator. All right, so but then this one, as you can see, it has two methods. Okay, method 1, right? And then method 2. Okay, we'll do method 1 first. Method 1 is the way we just did. Okay, we'll get rid of the fractions. So what should we multiply with? Brennan, what do we need to multiply to get rid of denominator?
3.
Yep, very good. Okay, our common denominator, which is the only one, right, is a 3. So everything times it by 3. Okay, so left side, okay, you have 2x minus 1 squared over 3 minus 27. That's the left side. Right side is 0. Both sides multiplied by 3. Okay, so the yellow highlighted is the common denominator. So I'll let you try this out, okay? So you need to expand, right? Because you have 2 terms there. Right side is just 3 times 0. So I'll let you do the steps until general form, okay? See if you guys can get to there, general. So general form has to equal to 0. So you can raise your hand once you get there. And if you are confident that your general form is correct, then you can continue, okay, to factor and then all the way to the getting the answers, okay? But please raise your hand when you get to general form first. Does anyone have questions? Please raise your hand when you have the general. Okay, Colin, what steps are you on? Almost?
I'm done, but I'm not like sure.
Yeah, it's okay. I just need to know if you are done or not, right? Otherwise, we'll be waiting for an hour. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're 100% sure or not. It's okay, right? As long as you tried, that's the most important. Okay, Aaron, what do you have?
It's just general form, right?
Yeah, just general.
4x squared subtract 4x subtract 26 equals to 0.
Subtract 26 equals 0 like this.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. How about Nathan? What do you have?
I got 4x squared. Take away 4x, take away 80 equals to 0.
Okay, thank you. Colin, how about you?
I got the same thing as him.
As which one?
Negative 81.
Negative 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Brennan, how about you?
Yeah, I got the same thing.
As negative 80?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then let's see. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, I'm not sure which one is correct. We have to go through it.
I just forgot to multiply the 3 to the 27.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let's look at the left side. Of course, the right side will be 0, right? That part is the easy one. 0 times 3. When we multiply the left side, the 3 will cancel out, right? The 3. Okay. So that will give us 2x minus 1 bracket squared, right? And then for the second part, right, there's nothing to cancel out with the 3. So the 3 will multiply with the 27, right? Because remember the 3 needs to go in twice. So even though it canceled out in the first multiplying, it doesn't cancel out for the second one, okay? Because it's like a brand new reborn, okay? The 3 will go into both of the terms. So the second one will become minus 81, right? Equal to 0, okay? And then you expand this one. When you expand, okay, you have to be careful here. This one you need to use a special product, okay, for this one. So it's the, let me write on the side, okay? So it's the a minus b bracket square, which we reviewed in the last chapter, right? The special formula. So a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, and then minus 81. Okay, so 4x squared minus 4x minus 80 equals 0. Okay, so that's our general form over there. So of course, now we need to factor, right? How do we factor this? Eric, how do we factor this one?
You find the greatest common factor and like take it out first.
Okay, is there a GCF for this one?
4.
4, very good. Okay, so you don't always need to start with cross factor. Okay, if there's GCF, take it out. That will make life easier, right? Make numbers smaller. So 4 take out will be x squared minus x minus 20. And then you just focus on doing the cross factor on the remaining term, right? 4 will remain outside, okay? Just wait outside there, okay? And then you find the pairs, and then you will have 4, and eventually you'll get 4 bracket equals 0, okay? So you can raise your hand once you're done factoring, okay? For the first term, of course, is x and x, right? X times x will make x squared. Okay, so please find the next pair. Write out the brackets and raise your hand. Aaron, Brandon, Sarah, any questions? Okay, Aaron, can you tell us the pairs you picked?
So on the 20 side, it'll be -5 and 4.
-5 and 4, okay? So that will give us -5x plus 4x, that's -1x, right? Matches the middle one. Very good. So you go horizontally, x minus 5x plus 4. So finally, the answer should be, Nathan, what's the final answer then?
I got 5, -4.
Yeah, very good. 5 and -4. Okay, so those are our roots. Okay, so when you are doing homework, you just show work like this, right? If you get fraction, okay. So let's turn to the homework page first. Okay, homework question. Let's look at a couple questions. Okay, and then maybe pick some of the harder ones. Do a couple steps to help you, right? So go to this one. So question you'll be seeing, right? Everyone please flip to page 16. Right, last time I assigned MNOPQR, right? This part, right? Those are the one that has GCF, okay? So today I'll be picking the ones that's 3 terms, like question A, right? Those ones, okay? So you don't need to do everything. I'll pick a couple of them. So the ones that have fraction will be like question 3. Okay. So maybe let's pick 2 questions. Okay. We are not going to go through the whole steps, the whole question. We just go to the point where you know how to get a general form. Right. So let's pick question C. C, G, H. Okay, so you can take out a piece of paper right now, just any scrap paper. Okay, so all I need you to do is just tell me what it looks like after you cancel out the denominator. Okay, you don't need to expand, you don't need to change it to general form, just the very first step. Okay, what I mean is here, after you cancel out the denominator, right, this one. Show me what it looks like without the denominator, okay? That's the most important step. All right, so do not expand anything. So question C, 3C, G, H, okay? So we'll go over these 3. Let me add a page here, okay? Yeah, we'll finish these 3 before the break. All right, copy the question here. So multiply each one of them by a common denominator. And then you can show me what it looks like when the denominators are gone, okay? Once you get this part correct, the rest is pretty easy. Okay, so you can raise your hand when you finish C, okay? We'll do one question at a time, okay? Everyone, right, you can raise your hand when you have get rid of the denominator. So what's the common denominator we should multiply with for question C? Colin?
4 and 3.
So that means 12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So everything times it by 12, okay? So you guys can raise your hand after you found, after you got rid of the denominator. Everything times 12. Okay, remember you don't need to move things, okay? You don't need to change the general form, just the very first step. Is there anyone confused about what to do here? Let me know. And I can go over step by step, okay? Okay, let's check the first term, right? 12 times the x squared over 4. Then 4 will cancel out, left with the 3, right? So your first term should be 3x squared. Now for this next one, second term, the 3 will cancel out with the 12. Then you'll be left with the 4, so minus 4x. Okay, same thing with the right side, equal to 4. Okay, and then after that, you do the same thing, move everything to the left, do the cross factor, okay, and so on. Any questions? Nathan, how are you doing? Any questions?
I just solved everything, so I'm good.
Oh, okay, you don't need to solve everything, okay? We're just doing the first step, okay? So we can save time. All right, let's move on to G, all right? So same thing, I just need the first step. The common denominator we need to multiply with, what would it be, Yoshir?
T plus 3 and t minus 2.
Yep, very good. Okay, so you don't need to do the whole thing, okay? Just the first step. Show me what it looks like after you got rid of the denominator. Okay, and then raise your hand. Question G. In homework, then you do the whole thing, okay? Please raise your hand if you have the expression.
Jason,
Yep, Nathan.
I have a question.
Yep.
When it says like equals 2, do we just leave the 2 there?
Yeah, the 2 will have nothing in the denominator to cancel, right?
Yep.
So the 2 will stay there and then also multiply with the common denominator.
Oh, you're gonna multiply with. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I get it.
yeah. The denominator will multiply everything on both sides.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Okay, please raise your hand if you got an expression. Do not expand, okay? We don't have time right now to do that. Just show me the first step. All right, so Aaron, can you tell us what it looks like?
T multiplied by, no, I mean 2 multiplied by t, subtract 2. Subtract 3 multiplied by t plus 3. And it should equal to 2 multiplied by t plus 3
Mm-hmm.
and t subtract 2.
Yep, very good. Okay, so each of the denominator canceled out different parts, right? T plus 3 will cancel out the t plus 3. Okay, and then the t minus 2 will cancel out the t minus 2. So you are left with different things. Anyone has questions about how this thing works? Nathan, are you good? Yeah, okay, so last one, okay? Same thing. You can raise your hand when you're done with H, just the first step, okay? For question G, right, when you are doing the homework, okay, be careful that when you expand, you need to multiply the -3. Okay, not just the 3 when you expand, okay? So just be careful on that. Okay, let's check some of your answers. Okay, and raise your hand if you got it. Brendan, what's the common denominator?
X plus 4 and x minus 1.
Very good. And Yosher, what do you have left?
1 times x plus 4 x minus 1 plus plus 2x times x minus 1 equals to 3 times x minus plus 4.
Okay, very good. Okay, if anyone has question about this part, okay, you can stay during the break to ask me. Otherwise, we'll have a break until 11:20. Okay, so I'll see you guys later.